Over 200 million years ago, when the dinosaurs took their first steps out of the marshes and rose to rule the earth, they were watching. When the giant ancestors of these damselflies flew over ancient swamps, they were already here. While countless other species have risen, failed, become extinct, the turtle has survived. It is the oldest living reptile on Earth. It's not by chance the turtle is still around, but because it is a tough, adaptable creature, the successful outcome of a long evolutionary process. This is a painted turtle. It can live as long as 30 years. And of all the North American turtles, it is the only one that ranges across a continent, from east to west and north to south. As summer slips away in southern Quebec, autumn arrives with a few last lingering days of sun and warmth. The painted turtles in this pond are close to the northern limit of their range. Here, where winter will last 6 long months, they soak up the last bit of the sun's warmth. As flocks of geese make their long journey south, the painted turtle takes her final breath, making her own journey for survival down to the bottom of the pond, looking for a suitable place to spend the winter. Like many other reptiles, the turtle will survive the frigid temperatures by entering torpor, a kind of hibernation where her body temperature drops close to 0 and her heartbeat slows down until it's barely perceptible. She finds a spot and settles in, neither eating nor breathing through the winter, absorbing what little oxygen she needs directly from the water. While she waits out the ice and cold on the bottom of the pond, the baby turtles, born the summer before, have not yet left their nest in the ground. They lie there beneath a shallow covering of earth, perfectly hatched and ready to move, but waiting. Because of a remarkable adaptation, the baby turtles can almost totally freeze. Their hearts stop beating. Their blood ceases to flow. With life in them reduced to a faint murmur, they lie in the nest, waiting for Earth's turnings to bring winter to an end. As for this female, she may have to move several times on the floor of her pond, temporarily digging into the mud to escape the descending ice. Life goes on while the turtle is suspended under the layers of snow and ice. It's not hunger, but the light of the sun and the gradual warming of the water that wake the turtle and eventually draw her to the surface of the pond. Stiff and sluggish from the long winter's cold, this painted turtle heads for a prime basking spot. Basking is not just a pleasant way to spend a sunny afternoon. For a turtle, it is essential. Its thick, dark shell is a wonderful solar collector, warming the turtle and speeding up its metabolism so it can feed, digest, grow, mate, and lay eggs in the next few months of warmth. The stress of hibernation does take its toll. Each spring, turtles emerge only to die shortly after, with no sign of injury or disease. There are vastly different reproductive strategies in the pond. Unlike the turtle, the short-lived wood frog is an explosive breeder, producing thousands of eggs which develop rapidly so that some may survive. The turtle, on the other hand, may lay only 200 eggs in a lifetime, so the survival of at least a couple to adulthood is vital. The first hatchling has emerged from the darkness of the nest. There is no parent to teach this baby turtle. Everything it needs to know, it knows already, as messages of millions of years run through its tiny brain. The first impulse is to find safety. The little hatchling may face a journey of hundreds of meters, taking several days, all the while exposed to hungry predators before it finally finds water. All of the hatchlings emerge at the same time, after the spring rains have loosened the soil and the sun has warmed the earth. Its determination suggests some inner purpose, some genetic imprint that we can only try to imagine. turtle hatchling reaches the pond, but it is far from being out of danger. This snapping turtle, lying patiently in ambush, wouldn't hesitate to eat a hatchling. Other predators seek other prey. The young tadpoles, trying to break free of the egg masses that protected them, may not be as lucky as the hatchling turtle, as leeches and salamanders come to feed. Within a few short weeks of emerging from the winter ice, courtship among painted turtles has begun. The smaller male in patient pursuit of the larger female. The male can be distinguished by the exceptionally long claws on his forefeet and by a long, thick tail. Though the claws may appear to be meant for fighting, in fact, they are used as part of a graceful and tender courtship ritual. Following a chase that can last hours, the female turns into the shallows, where the male heads her off and comes toward her, face to face, vibrating his long claws. He slides forward and strokes her head and neck with the backs of his claws as she is suspended in the water before him. If the female is not interested, she will keep moving until he tires of the pursuit and looks elsewhere. If she is interested, she will sink to the bottom, where the male mounts her and mating takes place. While the turtle's cycle of reproduction has just begun, for the birds who share this pond, it is well underway. To be ready for the migration south in the fall, these baby red-winged blackbirds will need to be fed from morning till night. Nearby, a Baltimore oriole forages. Unlike the turtle hatchlings, these chicks will be totally helpless for several weeks. With the mating complete, the turtles return to their favorite pastime. When it comes to basking, painted turtles are among the champions of the turtle world. Alternating periods of swimming and feeding, with periods of basking in the sun, all through the hot summer days. Turtles can't generate heat internally from eating, so they rely on external sources to speed up their metabolism. Every little bit of exposure helps. Even the scales they shed are loosened by the warmth of the sun. Eyesight among turtles is apparently quite keen. Their total range of color perception is close to that of humans. Like all aquatic turtles, The windpipe is located on the floor of the mouth behind the tongue. It can be closed off by a valve to allow swallowing underwater without flooding the lungs. Painted turtles are omnivorous, surviving on algae and other aquatic plants, as well as insects, larvae, small frogs, and carrion. It is late June. The time has come for the female turtles to leave the pond and find a nesting place. Turtles are swift and powerful swimmers, and in the water, there is little for them to fear. But on land it is a different matter. Their slow and awkward pace makes them vulnerable. It is not uncommon to see a turtle with chewed edges on her shell or a missing foot, like this one. Remarkably, even if a turtle loses a leg, it won't bleed to death, because its blood coagulates quickly, allowing it to carry on. Whatever the risks at this time of year, the female painted turtle will face them. The warmest days are beginning. The next 3 months will be the most favorable for baby turtles to develop in their eggs. The ideal nesting site is an open spot with loose soil, easy to dig, and exposed to the sun. To make the ground softer and easier to excavate, the female turtle will wet the soil with water stored in her bladder. She will lay somewhere between 5 and a dozen eggs, entrusting them to the earth for care. Every night during the nesting season, the predators come hunting. A skunk, head close to the earth, shifts and sniffs, searching every inch of the ground for the nests it knows are there, somewhere. Someone else beat him to it, this time. Perhaps another skunk, perhaps a raccoon, feasting on the eggs and leaving the torn and twisted shells behind. This will be the fate of many of the eggs that will get laid this season. But those that do survive will be enough to maintain the population, if the last 200 million years are anything to go by. Another female has left the safety of the pond to lay her eggs. With great gentleness and dexterity, she arranges the freshly laid eggs just so in her nest, relying on her sense of touch. She never sees the eggs she lays. Her task is complete for this year, and the female returns to the water, considerably lighter than when she left. There is no way of knowing what, if any, thought she harbors of the eggs she has left behind. Beneath the warm summer rains, in their shell-bound worlds, the embryos will develop and grow. As the end of August approaches, the protective shell starts to become a prison. With the egg tooth on its upper lip, the restless hatchling opens a tiny slit in the shell. Just as it controls so much else in their lives, the heat of the sun will ultimately decide whether the hatchling that emerges is male or female, depending on the temperature in the nest during incubation. Males if it was cool, females if it was warm. In warmer climates, these hatchling twins would probably make the short journey to the surface immediately. This far north, they will remain here in the nest over the winter, to emerge in the spring, just like the hatchlings from last season and every season before that, stretching back for millions of years. Through all that time, the painted turtle has survived relatively unchanged in ponds and wetlands like this one. But the world around has changed. Only a short distance from here, 8 lanes of traffic roar by, and for the first time, the turtle's survival depends on the whims of another species. In fact, we humans are merely a blink in the history of life on this planet. The turtles are a long, slow stare. They watch dinosaurs come and go, land masses rise and fall, saw species that we cannot even imagine evolve, thrive, and die out. From deep in some swamp, they may watch the last human vanish, and then blink and turn away.